What is up YouTube, James Sport here, welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be breaking down my 4 top tips on how to get shredded for complete beginners. Now who am I and why should you listen to me? My name's James, I've been training for over 10 years, I've transformed my physique from this into this, and I've made a hell of a lot of mistakes along the way. I want to make sure that you guys at home watching this don't make those same mistakes. You can skip those crappy phases. We can make sure that you start progressing at an optimal rate from an early on stage. Now let's get into it. So guys, tip number 1 on how to get shredded for beginners is to be consistent with your food. This one here is one of the biggest things that needs to be considered when you're trying to get shredded. If you can be consistent with your food, you have a variable that you can manipulate and change as and when you please to ensure that you're consistently progressing. Now, what do I mean by that? A lot of you at home, you might be trying to drop some body fat. We need to see that scale weight going down to drop body fat. Body fat is a physical mass. If we're trying to get shredded, that scale weight needs to be going down. Now, if you're eating 2,000 calories one day, 3,000 the next, 4,000 the next, 1,500 the next, you have this huge scale of how much calories that you're eating on a day-to-day basis, and it's not consistent. So when you stop making progress, you haven't got a leg to stand on in regards to making changes. You'd be like, okay, I've plateaued, what can I do? Nothing, because I don't know what I'm eating. Now, if you have a consistent energy balance in regards to you have a consistent calorie intake, suddenly you can manipulate and change that in a way that suits your needs to ensure that you're consistently progressing. The best way to do this is to go online and type in maintenance calorie calculator, and it'll give you a rough estimate of the amount of calories that you need to be eating in order to drop body fat. Start eating that amount of calories. If it says that you're an 80 kilogram guy and you need to be eating 2,000 calories in order to drop X amount of body weight per week, set your calorie intake at 2,000 calories per day and eat that consistently. 2,000 calories every single day, rather than seeing these huge spikes and valleys in regards to your calorie intake. Suddenly it's on a consistent plane, and when you stall in progression, you can just make a change with the click of your fingers. It's like, okay, well, I've stalled, I'm not making progress, let's pull away 200 calories. And you can do that because it's consistent. That's the first tip, is to make sure that you're consistent with your calorie intake. Now guys, the second tip on how to get shredded for beginners is to have a consistency with your calorie expenditure. And I know this, once again, you're starting to see a bit of a theme here with consistency, and it will be a recurring theme throughout so many of my videos, because the more consistent we can be with everything that we can do, the easier it is to manipulate things and the easier it is to continue to progress in a manner that you please. So what do I mean by being consistent with your energy expenditure? So your energy output, your calorie output. So you've obviously got tip number 1, which is to be consistent with the food coming in, which is energy. And we're now going to be consistent with the energy going out. So you'll see I'm wearing an Apple Watch. On my Apple Watch, I count my daily step goal. I walk 8,000 steps minimum every single day. I also do 5 lots of 35 minutes rounds of cardio every single week, and that's just because right now my goal right now is to shred as well. I've dropped 3 kilograms in the last 4 weeks, and we're heading down trying to get rid of that last little bit of body fat, because I know exactly what I'm eating. In my case, I'm eating 3,000 calories every single day. I then have this output, which is consistent, of 8,000 steps every single day and 5 lots of 35 minutes cardio every single week. So as you can see, I've got this really nice picture of what's going in, energy, calorie, food-wise, and what's going out, energy, calorie-wise, okay? So suddenly we've got this nice thing that we can manipulate and change. We've got these 3 variables. We have food, we have steps, we have cardio. And when I stall in progression, it's like I might step on the scales next week and it's like, okay, I've not dropped weight. So let's make some changes, because I can do that because things are consistent. So I can either reduce some food, so I can pull my food down to 2,800, 2,600, wherever it may be, an increase in steps, so I could go up to 9,000, 10,000 steps per day, or I could increase my cardio to maybe 40 minutes 5 times per week. And suddenly we're starting to progress again. I'll watch the scale weights chip down until I plateau and I can make some more changes again. So the big take home from that is if you can be consistent with your energy input, so the calories going in, and consistent with the calories going out, so your energy output. Calories are the form of fuel, just like cars use petrol, by the way, just to give you a bit of a breakdown there. Then you will ensure consistent progression. Now tip number 3, and this one is going to be a kick in the teeth for a hell of a lot of you guys at home, is to have more muscle mass. Now I know this right now isn't something that you can implement right away, but it might implement the phase that you decide to go in right now. So what do I mean by that? So taking myself as an individual, I probably have another 10 pounds to lose before I'm in a really nice lean state. Now I might look quite lean on camera, and I am relatively lean, but I'm in a position right now where if you take the body fat on me, I'm 100 kilograms, so I'm a 220 pound individual right now. If you take that 10 pound of body fat that I'm holding and you put it on a 150 pound guy, suddenly that body fat looks like a hell of a lot more body fat because it's not spread out and distributed like it is over my body. So as you can see from that analogy, the more muscle mass that you have, the easier it is to not only distribute that body fat, but also it's going to be a lot easier to look more visibly lean and shredded. So if you're an individual who right now you're not holding that much muscle mass, then maybe it would be a good idea, if you're not too fat at the moment, is to push up calories and start actually building some muscle, so that when you cut down, not only have you got a better physique to show, but it's also going to be easier to show off a shredded physique, because there's nothing worse than trying to dig and realizing you have no muscle mass, and you're then in a position where you're just going to end up looking skinny. So biggest recommendation, if you don't have that much muscle mass and you're in a position to build, I would build first, and that way you're going to look more shredded when you get lean, and it's going to be easier to get shredded as well. So tip number 3 is have more muscle mass. Tip number 4, guys, is don't be afraid to pull yourself deep. Now, time and time again, as an online coach, people come to me, they say, James, I've been dieting for the past 6 months, I've dropped 1.5 kilos. It's like, well, you're not dieting then. If you're dieting, you need to be seeing that scale weight going down every single week. And the reality is, if you are being consistent with your energy input, if you are being consistent with your energy output, and the scale weight isn't going down, then pull yourself harder. So many people aren't brave enough to pull themselves where they need to go, and in some cases that's sub 2,000 calories for guys, it's sub 1,500 calories for guys with some guys, and lots of cardio and lots of steps. And sometimes that's what it takes to get shredded. And if that's something that you want to do, and you're looking at these influencers and you're thinking, why can't I look like that? It's like, well, be willing to do what they do, be willing to go to the depths that they're willing to go to bring that condition, and you'll get there. So tip number 4, guys, is to be willing to pull yourself deep. So guys, for you guys at home that don't know how to structure your diet for a building phase or a cutting phase, luckily I have done videos of full days of eating, and this is how I eat exactly what I eat on a day-to-day basis in order to build muscle and cut muscle. So if you do guys want to watch that, I'm going to pop them on the screen here, you give those a watch. And if you do like this video as well, guys, make sure you hit the like button, comment, and if you haven't already, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. Helps the channel grow. Only 80% of my watchers actually subscribe to my videos, so it helps the channel grow. It means that you'll never miss another video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.